Okay, another planting day. Another planting day. I'm off today. I have to work tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday, but it's supposed to be overcast tomorrow, so I think it might be okay to get some stuff in. Here's another shirt. Thank you, Shannon. So, let's bring it down. I'm gonna put in some cucumbers on the inside of the fencing, one on one side, one on the other, and I'll put the loofahs on the outside of this side of the fence. So that way they can kind of share. I don't have a ton of the loofah plants, but 6 of them. So we'll put those in. We'll put a little lettuce in. Then I'm going to put those all along the side of where the chicken run is going to be. So that way when they grow big, if they're pecking through at it, that's something that I don't mind. I'm growing this for the chickens, so if they're pecking at the lettuce, they can pull up plants or whatever. Hopefully they have a good time and have something interesting to do. All right, so I got my Boston pickling cucumbers on this side. On the other side is my sugar snap peas, as you can see. Got those all in nice. And then the Ashley cucumbers, so these are a little bit bigger like the regular cucumbers on this side. And then the outside are my loofahs. I have 6 loofah plants, so we'll see how this goes because they need a trellis so they can hang and dry on the plant so we can have a real loofah. Really excited. All right, off to some lettuce that's dying to get out of those containers. All right, my plan is I'm going to start the lettuce on this section. It'll be next to the corn. It'll be next to the chicken run so they can peck at stuff when it grows through. It'll be good for them. But I'm trying to plan this too, that all the lettuce and the spinach and kale will run all along the side of the chicken run so they can peck at it. But I'm going to plant the tomatoes, I think, right next to it because the lettuce and the spinach and the kale can use some shade. So they'll have shade from the corn and they'll have some shade from the tomatoes. So maybe they won't bolt this year. Man, they bolted last year. I tried to clip as much as I could, so we'll see if this works. Okay, so I am planting my tomatoes now that I planted the lettuce, the spinach, the kale. They're a little droopy right now, but it's super hot. So I use a string and I make straight lines. I measure everything, and then I dug all my holes for it so I knew where I was going to go. So there's a couple different ways that you can plant tomatoes. And get this out, I can show you here. So some people, like I said in my last video, some people lay them down and then put the leaves up to the top here, and everything along here, the little fuzzies, they all regrow roots. But this year I'm just gonna plant them deep. So I'm gonna pluck these bottom leaves off. And in my hole here, I put compost, my mixture of fertilizer, and then I filled them up with water because it's pretty dry down below. And then I plant them down to as far as the bottom leaf will be. So right about there. Could have been a little bit deeper. Right about here and pack it in. Oh, this one might be better. Example. Just pop these in. Boy, this one's gonna be deep. That way, once I dug down a little bit, it's pretty damp underneath the soil here. I have sandy loam, so this top layer. I have about an inch on the top that's all sand. And then underneath it, once you get digging, it's all this loomy soil. So it's good for drainage. This is a sandy loam, loomy soil is perfect to have. That way the roots can kind of go wherever they want. Oop, I'm gonna hit ya. But then I will continue on here. These are my Romas. I got sweetie tomatoes, giant Belgium, and beefsteak. So I got all my tomatoes in. I need to buy 5 more tomato cages. I need to just bite the bullet and do it. What else did I get? Cauliflower's in, broccoli's in, cabbage is in, Brussels sprouts are in, and I'm about to do my green beans. So I like my straight lines, so I put a line down and then I dug a trench. Usually I poke a hole every 3 inches or so. I think the spacing recommends 6, but I do 3, and I put 3 seeds in each hole. So I'm gonna just dig this trench here, right along the line, and drop them in. I wanna get these green bean seeds in now. So I'll show you when we're done. So I just got a row of green beans in. These are Bush Blue Lake 274s. I wanted to take a quick second just to talk again about self-sustainability. So a lot of my garden last year, I harvested a lot of my own seeds. So I wanted to show you what these seeds look like after harvesting them. So these were the seeds that I shucked from my dried green bean plants last year at the end of the year. Look at them. They're just like you would buy in a store. I have approximately 1,000 Bush Blue Lake 274 seeds. I did a whole row, and I probably did about 300 seeds in that row. And I have a whole bag left here. I'm gonna do tender green next row, and these are the tender green seeds. Now both of the the green beans, when they're grown, these two almost look identical. One's a little bit lighter greener, but they both look the same. They're a regular green bean that you would eat, and look at the seed color. They're vastly different. It's really cool. So these are the tender green. I'm gonna plant these next. I'm trying to figure out if my rows are a little bit shorter than they usually are. So I'm wondering if I should do succession planting, which I think I will, now that I'm talking to you about this. So I'm gonna plant 1 row, and as I get to the end, if I have more room, I will plant more, probably 2 weeks from now. And yeah, I'll use the rest of these seeds as like extra crop if I have more room, or I can just find other places to put them and let them go and get extra. So that's really cool. All right, so I'm gonna finish up this next row, and then I think I'm gonna call it a night, and I'll show you what I got when I'm done. Ooh, just in time, the sun's starting to come out. Wanted to show you what the row looks like after I put the seeds in. Yes, I put a ton of seeds very close together. You know, some of these aren't gonna germinate, and if I did a hole an inch deep, I put 3 seeds in that hole, and they're 3 inches apart. So it's just some of, you know, before I would do it vertical, now I'm gonna do it horizontal. So this is the whole row. That took one of my bags, and I had written on it that it was approximately 350 seeds, and I used the whole thing. So that's about right. About 300, 3 to 350. And this is what they look like. All ready to be covered in dirt. Okay, so I got the second row green beans planted. These are the tender greens. I also wanted to mention that green beans actually give off nitrogen as they grow. And usually you should plant the green beans in a place where last year you had a plant that takes up a lot of nitrogen. So say like a tomato plant. They take up a lot of nitrogen, a lot of nutrients it takes to grow a tomato plant. So you would actually benefit from planting the tomato plant where you planted the green beans the year before. That would help the tomato plants out, and vice versa, because the spot where you had the tomatoes would be very deficient, and you could put the green beans in that spot and it would give back the nitrogen that it lost. Food for thought. I mean, you don't have to. It's tough with an area like this. I flip-flop around and do a lot of stuff. I tend to do more sun mapping than anything, but food for thought. And I have found quite a lot of uses for this bad boy. Look at, I put all my stuff in here. Now I'm keeping myself organized for once in my life. Here's my little map. I can definitely say you can plan for everything, and then once you get to it, everything goes downhill. So that's my chicken scratch, haha, no pun intended, with the girls over there, of redoing this. I spent hours over the winter planning the garden, only to change it up, but that's okay. This thing is pretty cool. I put a little tray in the bottom so I could keep all my stuff dry. Works out really good, little guy. So here are all the girls. They want to say hello. Say hi, girls. So we'll see you next time. Thank you for growing with me so I can grow with you.